the world behind the text. So what's in a name? Or what's behind a name? Using a wide lens, as we approach the ancient text, is often an important viewpoint to take. However, it is also important to narrow our focus at certain points within the text. And one of these points of access for deeper understanding is a given name. I think this is especially important in understanding the women of the text, since we are given so little information regarding women in the biblical narrative. Every morsel of potential understanding to me is that much more important. Being named brings particularity, a uniqueness of personhood, and in the case of one who is given a descriptor or just a pseudonym, what we hear is a vague representation of someone who might have been like this character rather than an actual person. And so there's a loss of personhood with the use of a descriptor or a pseudonym. There's also an indication of importance given by the frequency in which an individual's name is used in a text. For instance, Sarah or Sarai is mentioned more than any other female in the Bible. 55 times in the Hebrew Bible and 4 times in the New Testament. Sarah's continued infertility becomes unbearable for her, and in her desperation she brings her maidservant Hagar into the narrative to act as a surrogate. Interestingly, Hagar, an Egyptian woman, is given a Hebrew name. A Hebrew name with the root of a masculine Hebrew word meaning foreign thing. We also notice that both Sarah and Abram are given new names by God, but Hagar remains a foreign thing. With only this much information, we have already learned a great deal about the people behind these names. With Potiphar's wife, we see an example of vagueness of identity. The struggle between Joseph and Potiphar's wife is a wonderful example of how what is in a name can change our opinion of an individual and the circumstances we see within a narrative. In Genesis 39, Potiphar's wife is often depicted as a vengeful temptress. She is a trickster who has her eye on Joseph, a righteous man, a man who resists temptation. However, when we look behind the name Potiphar, we learn a great deal more about the situation. In Hebrew, the word for Potiphar's position, saris, or officer, can also mean eunuch. This is a very different situation for Potiphar's wife. We may even become sympathetic toward her and her situation. And while I'm not suggesting that we look only to a name for insights, we do gain nuances of the narrative simply by decoding the meaning of a character's name or listening more closely to a descriptor. And so it is important to be sensitive to the proper names, pseudonyms, and personal descriptors, because what is often perceived in the text may not be what is intended. And by paying attention to the details given by the ancient authors, a deeper connection with the characters and a greater understanding of the text is gained. And so it is in these small ways we see behind the text and are led to the world behind the text, even in the smallest portions of the narrative, a name. And it is in this way that the text opens for us ways to speak into the lives of others. Thank you.